Hi guys, welcome to this week's reading session. We're going to be continuing this week with the book Callie Wants to Dance. And this is a book that we read 2 weeks ago at my session. So we read half of it last week and we're going to finish it this week. So just to give you a quick recap of what happened in the book. Actually, first of all, it should be on the Facebook page, on the WhatsApp group, and emailed out to you hopefully. So you should have the book. So if you can get the book in front of you while you're watching this video, that would be perfect. So then as we read along, you can read along with the book. So what I'll do first is give a little bit of a quick recap about what happened in the first half of the book. So then we can all start off the second half of the book knowing what's going on. So just very quickly, basically the first half of the book, so the book is about a young boy named Callie, and Callie's a bit different to most boys his age because he likes dancing, and where Callie's from in India, this is a bit unusual. And so he's a boy who likes to dance, and we see Callie, he's confused, he's not sure what he wants to do when he's older, what he wants to work as. Um, but then he does a performance, so he puts on a show, he does a dance, and this woman called Sarah finds him and she offers for him to go to her dance school and to train there and get really good at dancing. And so that's what Callie's going to do. So that's as far as we've got in the book. So we're on page 9, and what I'll do is, as normal, we'll read through each page and then I'll go over, just make sure everyone understands it, pick out any hard words, and then halfway through I've got some questions, and at the end of the other half I've got some questions as well. So like I said, we're starting on page 9, so we read up to page 8 last time, so we're starting on page 9. It's got the nice picture of Callie doing 3 different types of dances. Okay, so I'll start at the top of this page. So after his final school exams, Callie begins to learn 3 kinds of folk dances at Dakshin Kitra: Oliatam, Sapatam, Karagatam. Okay, so this is a short one. I've not gone into all the dances. So basically what's happening in this page. So after Callie's final school exams, so after he's finished all his schoolwork, he's done all his exams, he's learning 3 different types of folk dances. So the names of these 3 folk dances are on this page. So they are called Oiliatam, Bapatam, and Karagatam. So these are the 3 different folk dances that he's learning at this new school. So if we're not sure what a folk dance is, it's basically a kind of local dance, so a traditional dance is what he's learning. So a traditional Indian dance, there's 3 different types of them, and that's what he's learning at this school. Okay, so the next page. And then the next month, Callie begins learning Bharatanatyam at Kalakshetra. The first few days in school are scary and quiet. When the work gets too much and his legs hurt, he cries to Amma. Do you want to herd buffaloes? Amma asks him sternly. No. Then go back and do your best. Okay, so what's happening here is he's gone to his school. So the very first time that he's been to the school. And he says the first few days are scary and quiet. So they're quiet, he's not talking to many people, maybe he hasn't got that many friends, and it's scary, it's a new place, and he's a bit frightened and nervous. And sometimes it says the work gets too much. So he's got a lot to do, he's very busy, and it gets too much for him, there's too much work. And sometimes his legs hurt because when he's doing a lot of dancing, his legs hurt, he gets tired. And it says he cries to Amma, so he gets her, rings her on the phone and cries to her. But she says to him sternly, so a bit angry, a bit serious, and she says, do you want to herd buffaloes? So she says, do you want to work on the farm? Do you want to herd buffaloes like everyone else? And Callie says no because he wants to dance. And she says, then go back and do your best. So, however hard the dancing is, because this is what he wants to do, he needs to go back and he needs to work hard at his dancing. So, the next page, 11. Callie begins to adjust to this new world. He makes friends. When language is a problem, not all of his classmates know Tamil. Callie speaks using mudras. Did you go home for the holidays? Have you eaten? Okay, so from this page we see that Callie is feeling better. He's happier at school. He's adjusting to this new world. So the word adjust just means change. So he's changing a little bit. He's getting used to where he's living now. And it says this new world. And I think this is quite interesting because the dance school is so different to Callie that it's like a new world to him. It's like he's in a completely different place. But he's enjoying it and he's made friends. But also says that sometimes they have problems talking to each other because they don't speak the same language. So Callie speaks Tamil, and sometimes his classmates, so the people who he dances with, they don't speak his language. So they speak using mudras. So a mudra, for those who don't know, is a sign you make with your hands. So like in the pictures, Callie's like this, like this. So they're different signs you make with your hands to talk. So like if someone can't hear, you use sign language, you talk using your hands. So that's what they do. They use these mudras to talk because they don't speak the same language. So it's good. He's making friends. It's all very good. And let me see. Yeah, one more page. Yeah, one more page. Okay, page 12. At Kalakshetra, he becomes a skillful dancer. He becomes lean and fit and full of energy. He can now dance for hours. He learns Carnatic music as well. He makes many friends among the students who have come from all over the country and the world. They share their hopes, dreams, and even the food they bring from their homes. So once again, we see in this page that Callie's really doing well at his school. So it says he becomes a skillful dancer. So if you're skillful, you're really good. So he's practiced a lot, he's done a lot of dancing, and now he's really good at it. He becomes lean and fit and full of energy. So if you're lean, he's got a lot of muscle. He's not got a lot of fat. He's very lean. He's quite skinny. So he's fit. So he's good at exercise, and he's full of energy. So he's always jumping around. He's got lots of energy, and he can now dance for hours. So he's got lots of stamina, we could say. So stamina is when you can keep going for a long time without feeling tired. So he's got a lot of stamina. He can dance for a long time. And he also learns this Carnatic music as well. And this is, I had to Google this actually, but it's a type of music in India. So he's also learning this music as well while he's at school. And so says he makes many friends, and all the students come from all over the country and the world to dance at this school. So there's a lot of people from many different places, and they share lots of things. So they talk to each other a lot and they give each other things. So they talk about their hopes, so what they hope to do in life, their dreams, what they wish to do. Maybe they want to become a famous dancer when they're older, that type of thing. And they even share the food that they bring from their homes, which is nice. So they're all from different places, so all the different types of food they share together. Okay, so that's the first half. So I've got a couple of questions for this part of the book, and then we'll move on to the second bit. So the first question, what is a folk dance? What is a folk dance? Number 2, does Callie like school at first? So when he first goes to dance school, does he like it? Is it fun? And the last question, how does Callie talk to his classmates? How does Callie talk to his classmates? Okay. So the first question, what is a folk dance? So this was on page 9, and it says Callie begins to learn 3 kinds of folk dances. So these folk dances, if you remember, they're a type of traditional dance. So they're a type of dance that comes from a certain place. So these are folk dances from India. So it's a dance that is from a certain place, so a local dance. So we could have a dance from Newcastle, a dance from London, and there will be folk dances, local dances. And the second question, does Callie like school at first? So when he first goes to school, does he like it? And I would say no, he didn't really like it at first. He said the first few days, this is page 10, the first few days in school are scary and quiet. So he doesn't like it. He doesn't have many people to talk to, and he's a bit nervous. He's a bit scared. But this did change, though. We see on the next few pages that he gets some friends, and he gets good at dancing. So it does get better for him. And the last question, how does Callie talk to his classmates? So they actually talk to each other, if you remember, in these things called mudras, because they don't speak the same language, because they come from different countries, different places in India, and so they don't all speak the same language, so they speak in mudras, so these like gestures with their hands like Callie's making in the pictures. So well done for getting those. Like I say, have a read back through the book if you're not sure about them, and pause the video and you can go back. But for now, we're going to move on to the second half of the chapter. So this is page 13. Callie starts getting invitations to perform all across India and the world. He travels by bus, plane and aeroplane to many places. His akkas tease him. Do you remember you could not even sit on a bus without throwing up? Callie laughs as well. It is true. As a child, he would carry a lemon and a plastic bag with him on bus rides. As the years pass, Callie wins awards for his performances. He starts a dance school called Kuthabalam in Kovalam. Okay, so we see Callie's getting older in this chapter. We see what he's doing when he's grown up, when he's an adult. So he starts getting invitations to perform, so invitations to dance for people. So an invitation is when someone asks you to come somewhere. So people say, Callie, come perform, come dance for us here. And so he travels all over India and across the world. He goes by bus. So in the picture here, we can see he's on a bus or on a train or on an aeroplane. And his friends tease him, so they joke with him, they make fun of him. Because when Callie was younger, he used to feel sick when he went on buses. And says he'd carry a lemon and a plastic bag. So he'd have a little bag that he could be sick in. He used to get travel sick on buses. And he'd carry a lemon. Maybe a lemon's meant to make you feel less sick. So he laughs about this because he used to not be able to travel at all. He didn't like traveling, and now he travels all over the world. And the last bit, it says that Callie wins awards for his performances. So he wins prizes, he gets trophies and medals for his performances because he's that good at dancing. And he also opens his own dance school, and it's in Kovalam, which is the place, if you remember, where he's actually from. So that's quite nice. So the place where he grew up, he's now got a dance school there. Page 14 now. Now, Callie is ready for another performance. He puts on his makeup carefully. He wears his costume with ease. The velvet curtain goes up. Callie begins to dance. So in this, we see that he's ready for another performance. So he's dancing for more people. And he puts on his makeup. So you can see in the mirror, he's putting on his makeup. And he wears his costume. So he's got trousers on here. He's got a necklace on. So this is his costume, what he wears for dancing. So he wears it with ease. So it's natural. He wears it all the time. It's meant to be almost. And the velvet curtain goes up. So what this is saying is when on a stage, you often have a curtain in front of the stage. So like you have curtains in front of windows, you have a curtain in front of a stage, and it's made out of velvet. So velvet's often red material, very soft, very luxurious and expensive. So just before the performances start, so Callie's here, he's behind the curtain, and the curtain goes up so you can see Callie and he starts to dance. So that's what's happening there. And then when the curtain's gone up, Callie begins to dance. Next page, 15. So these next two pages are actually, they're explaining the real life story of Callie. So this was the story, but this is what really happened. So Callie is a real person. Callie the dancer. At the age of 25, Callie Veeraparatiyam is perhaps the only male dancer who has mastered the classical dance form of Bharatanatyam, as well as three ancient Tamil folk dance forms, according to the People's Archive of Rural India. Born in Kovalam, a struggling fishing village not far from Chennai in Tamil Nadu, Callie lost his father very young. It was his mother, Elamali Veraparian, a construction labourer who worked doubly hard to raise him and his many siblings. Sarah Chanda, who is a member of the managing committee of Gremalates Hospital in Chennai, sponsored his education at Kalakshetra, India's premier dance school. Okay, this is quite a hard page, so I'll go through it. So the very first bit is saying he was only 25, so he's very young, and he's the only male dancer who's mastered Bharatanatyam. So to master something is to get really good at it. So he's perfect at it. He's the best at it. And he's also really good at the three ancient folk dances that we talked about earlier. Says he was born in Kovalam, and this is a struggling fishing village. So struggling means it's not doing well. So they're quite poor. They don't have a lot of money. They struggle to get food for themselves. They live difficult lives. And it says Callie lost his father very young. So Callie's father passed away. He died when Callie was young. And it was his mother, a construction labourer, so a builder, someone who built buildings, yeah? She had to work doubly hard. So she had to work twice as hard to raise him and his many siblings. So because his dad wasn't there, his mum had to work even harder to look after him and his siblings. And then we read this in the first part of the book, but Sarah Chanda, who is a member of the managing committee of Gremalates Hospital in Chennai. So this was the Sarah who saw his performance and thought he was so good that she asked him to come to the dance school. It says she sponsored his education at the dance school, which basically just means she paid for his dance school. So I hope that all makes sense. There's one final page. He also studied at Dakshina Chitra under Kanan Kunar. Having completed his PG diploma in dance, Kali has started Kuthabalam, a dance school in Kovalam. Kali was featured in a documentary film by the People's Archive of Rural India. Many newspapers and TV channels have carried his interviews. He's won awards for his dance, including the Music Academy's Spirit of Youth Award. So this just names someone else that he's done dancing with, Kanan Kumar. And after he completed his diploma in dance, so a diploma is a degree. So if you go to university, you get a degree. So he's got a degree in dance almost. So he started his own dance school, and he's actually very well known. He's been featured in documentaries, so on TV, in films, in newspapers. So he's actually quite famous, and he's won awards for his dancing because he's so good at what he does. Okay, so that's the end of the book. So once again, I've got a couple more questions, and then that's it. Not too much of a long one today. Okay, so like I say, pause the video if you want after I've asked the questions, and you can go back and have a look and write your answers down. So number 1, what does Kali want to do when he's older? What does Kali do when he's older? Sorry. So after he's finished at dance school, what does he do? So you can pause the video and have a read back through the book if you want. And number 2, where was Kali from? So where did he grow up? And lastly, why is Kali so famous? So what makes him special? Why is Kali famous? Okay, so first question, what does Kali do when he's older? So on page 13, if we look, it says, as the years pass, so as Kali gets older, he wins awards for his performances, so awards for his dancing, and he starts his own dance school, which is amazing. So after he finishes his schooling, after he finishes his education, he opens his own dance school, which is very impressive. And number 2, where was Kali from? So Kali was actually from a place called Kovalam, and page 15 says this. Born in Kovalam, a struggling fishing village. So as I said, he wasn't from a rich place, he's from a small fishing village that didn't have a lot of money, but he still managed to be very, very successful. And lastly, why is Kali so famous? So there's a couple of answers you could give for this. So on page 15 at the very top, it says that he's the only male dancer who has mastered the classical dance of Bharatanatyam. So he's the only male dancer, the only man to have done that. So that's a really amazing thing. And as well, on page 16, it says that Kali's been in a documentary, he's been on TV, and he's been in newspapers, all these places. So he's very famous and very well known. And yeah, a very talented person indeed. So that's the end of the session today, guys. So Rebecca will be back next week with another book. I hope you all have a great week and enjoy the sunshine, and I'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Thanks, guys. Bye.